Beloved chosen one, listen, heaven has been waiting for this moment. Time itself has paused so you can hear what the Spirit is saying to you right now. You have felt it, haven't you? The quiet stirring in your soul, the moments when your heart began to race for no reason. The dreams that refused to fade, the coincidences that weren't coincidences at all. These were not random. They were the first whispers of destiny awakening inside you. You are not here by accident. Every breath that leaves your lungs, every heartbeat that echoes inside your chest, carries divine rhythm. You were written into heaven's story long before you took your first step on earth. You've always felt different, haven't you? You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, marked, set apart, chosen. The world tried to convince you that your pain was proof of God's absence. But the truth is the opposite. The fire you walked through was proof of His refining. The nights you thought would break you were the wombs of transformation. You didn't survive by luck, you were carried by unseen hands, guarded by angels, shaped by trials that others could not have endured. Every delay was divine. Every rejection was redirection. Heaven has been orchestrating something behind the curtain of your ordinary life. Every heartbreak was a nudge toward higher ground. Every closed door was mercy disguised as loss. You see, destiny doesn't begin with comfort, it begins with disruption. God shakes the ground beneath you not to bury you, but to awaken you. And in this very moment, as you stand at the edge of your new beginning, heaven reminds you of a sacred truth. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 16, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit that will last." Do you feel the weight of those words? Chosen one. You were chosen. Long before you could understand calling, heaven already wrote your name in the script of divine purpose. You are not an accident in the story of God, you are a sentence of victory written by His own hand. There's a reason you can't go back to who you were. The things that once satisfied you no longer do. The friendships that once fit you now feel foreign. It's because your spirit has outgrown your surroundings. You are being elevated. You are being called out. Destiny has begun and it refuses to wait for your comfort. Do you remember the times you felt invisible? God saw you then. The tears you hid were gathered by heaven as proof of your endurance. The enemy tried to convince you that your silence meant defeat, but your silence was strategy. You were being repositioned in stillness so your next move could carry eternal weight. And now heaven speaks again, arise. Destiny does not negotiate with hesitation. It finds you in the wilderness, in brokenness, in confusion, and still calls your name. The same God who spoke light into darkness has spoken over your life. You will fulfill what I have spoken. Stop doubting the calling that refuses to let you go. You may feel unworthy, but God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. His strength is made perfect in weakness. Your destiny has already been written. You are not chasing it, it is chasing you. Every stirring, every conviction is proof that heaven has already pressed begin. The question is not whether destiny is real, it's whether you will answer. Chosen one, this is not coincidence, it is divine intervention. You were meant to hear this now because your next season begins here. Step forward with boldness. Heaven backs your obedience. Angels move at your agreement. The story has already begun, and you are the main character written by the hand of God Himself. If this message spoke to your spirit, do not scroll away silently. Take a moment, like, share, and subscribe to stay connected to what heaven is releasing through this space. And in the comments, as a prophetic act of agreement, type 777, I accept my destiny. Beloved, before you leave this moment, breathe deeply. Feel the weight of heaven's eyes upon you. The same spirit that hovered over creation is hovering over your life now, stirring new beginnings, whispering, "Move, for the appointed time has come." Every step you take from here is holy ground. Your obedience today will echo for generations. Walk in confidence, knowing the heavens rejoice each time you choose faith over fear. You were born to break cycles, to heal bloodlines, to build what others only dreamed of. Go forth, chosen one. The story has only just begun. Chosen one, even before the world knew your name. The unseen realm already recognized your light. You were marked not with ink or scars, but with the breath of eternity. There is a divine signature written upon your soul, a seal no hand of darkness can erase. The world sees only the surface, but heaven knows the engraving of God's design within you. You are heaven's idea manifested in flesh, proof that purpose is not random, it's written. There have been moments when you've questioned your existence, wondering why your path feels heavier than others. But those who are marked carry weight others cannot bear. You've been set apart for divine impact, which is why ordinary paths reject you. You are not made for comfort. You are forged for conquest. Every spiritual battle you faced is evidence that the mark upon you is real. Hell does not waste energy on the unchosen, it wars only against destiny. There were days when you felt unseen, when silence wrapped around your heart like chains. Yet even in that silence, heaven was speaking your name. The angels assigned to your journey never stopped guarding you. The dreams that seemed delayed were not forgotten. They were preserved, waiting for your maturity to align with your mission. God hides his most powerful vessels until the time of unveiling. You might not remember the moment you were chosen, but eternity does. It was before your first breath, before your first cry, before your first thought. The moment heaven imagined you, purpose exploded into existence. That's why certain things in your life never made sense. They weren't meant to. They were divine contradictions meant to lead you back to the truth. You were chosen before you were aware of it. The word declares in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 4, "For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight." Let that truth sink deep into your spirit. You were chosen before the foundations of the world, long before the stars were hung in the heavens. God looked ahead in time and said, "That one I will send, that one." You are not an afterthought or backup plan. You are part of a divine strategy. And because you are marked, the enemy recognized you before you recognized yourself. That is why resistance came so early, even in childhood. It was never about what you did, it was about who you are. You carried a light that darkness detected, and it feared your awakening. Every setback, every betrayal, every heartbreak was an attempt to convince you to give up before discovering what's inside you. But here you are, still breathing, still believing, still standing. That is evidence of divine protection. There is something unexplainable about the chosen ones. They feel deeply, see differently, and move to the rhythm of heaven's whispers. You can sense danger before it appears. You feel burdens others overlook. That sensitivity is not weakness, it is spiritual radar. You perceive because you were made to intercede. Your tears are not random, they are warfare in liquid form. Heaven counts each one and turns them into intercession. Do not despise the mark upon you. Others may misunderstand it. They may call your separation loneliness or your quietness pride, but heaven calls it consecration. God hides his treasures until they are ready to reveal his glory. When he marks you, he also isolates you not as punishment but as preparation. You are being shaped in silence for a sound that will shake nations. There will come a moment when everything hidden about you will be revealed. The mark that seemed like a mystery will become a mantle. The world will begin to notice what heaven already knew, that you carry divine weight. And when that moment comes, remember that it wasn't your effort that brought you here, but grace. Destiny cannot be earned. It is inherited by obedience. Chosen one, this is your reminder you were never invisible to heaven. Even when the world turned its back, the mark of God glowed brighter upon your life. It's the reason you've survived things others didn't. It's the reason peace returned after chaos. The seal of divine ownership cannot be broken. So walk with quiet confidence. You don't need to prove what God has already proclaimed. You don't need validation from those who cannot comprehend your assignment. Your mark speaks louder than your voice. Every step you take radiates spiritual authority because you walk not by luck, but by decree. You are marked by the unseen, sealed by purpose, and watched over by heaven itself. Never forget you were chosen before time, preserved through storms, and prepared for this exact hour. Your life is not coincidence, it is prophecy in motion. Chosen one, you have felt the pressure, haven't you? The invisible weight pressing against your chest, the sense that you are carrying something too big for your shoulders. That weight is not punishment, it is calling. The heaviness you feel is not the burden of failure, but the weight of destiny settling into place. You are being trusted with more because heaven knows what it placed inside you. Every sleepless night, every tear you've hidden, every moment when you whispered, "God, why me?" those were not ignored. They were recorded in eternity's archives. When you carry divine purpose, you also carry divine tension. You stand between what was and what will be. You are stretched because you are being shaped for something larger than life itself. Some will never understand the price of your calling. They see your calm, but they do not know your crucifixion. They admire your light, but are blind to the shadows that trained you. You have walked through fires no one applauded you for surviving. Yet each flame refined what excuses could never remove. The weight of calling presses down until every ounce of self-sufficiency breaks, and then the anointing begins to flow. There are moments when you wonder if God made a mistake choosing you, when your weakness screams louder than your worship, when your failures echo in your thoughts like thunder. But remember, He doesn't anoint perfection. He anoints surrender. He chooses those willing to be vessels, even if they feel cracked. The very places that broke you are now the openings through which His glory will pour. You were never called to carry this weight alone. Heaven shoulders it with you. Every time you whispered, "I can't do this," the Spirit replied, "You were never meant to do it alone." You were chosen not because you were strong, but because you were available. We find in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Let that sink in. Your weakness is not your disqualification, it's your doorway. Every time you thought you couldn't take another step, grace stepped in. Every time you reached your limit, power arrived. The weight of calling is not designed to crush you, it's meant to reveal what's divine inside you. Do not resent the heaviness. It is proof that you are carrying something from heaven to earth. The greater the mission, the greater the pressure. Diamonds form only when hidden coal endures impossible weight. You are that diamond in process, and your breaking has only made you shine brighter. When the world doubts you, heaven applauds you. When the enemy mocks your pain, angels stand guard over your purpose. The unseen realm celebrates every time you refuse to quit. You have already overcome battles no one even knows you were fighting. And though the road ahead may still test you, know this: you are equipped. The same hand that marked you also sustains you. You may look around and see little progress, but don't be fooled. The soil must feel heavy before the seed breaks open. You are in the stage between pressing and promise, where faith does its deepest work. The weight you feel is evidence that something within you is expanding, preparing to emerge. Chosen one, your steps may tremble, but your destiny does not. Heaven is not anxious about your journey. It's already seen your victory. The pressure is only proof that God trusts you with His purpose. When others complain about the struggle, you will understand it's the sound of destiny forming in silence. So when it feels unbearable, remember this: God is not trying to break you down. He's teaching you how to carry glory. He's showing you that your strength was never the goal. His presence was. What you carry will change atmospheres, break generational patterns, and bring light into dark corners of this world. And now, as you stand in this holy tension between exhaustion and faith, between surrender and victory, heaven leans close and whispers, "Don't give up. You are almost there." Comment below, "I will rise." Because those 3 words are not just a phrase, they are prophecy. When you type them, you are agreeing with heaven's declaration over your life. You are telling the world that no weight will crush you, no darkness will silence you, and no storm will end what God has started. The weight of your calling is the proof of your divine assignment. You were chosen to rise. Chosen one. Every storm that came against you was not designed to destroy you, it was designed to purify you. The breaking season is one of heaven's greatest mysteries, a divine classroom where pain becomes the teacher and silence becomes the syllabus. You wondered why everything that used to work suddenly stopped, why doors you once walked through without effort began to close, why people you trusted began to fade. But the truth is, this God was not punishing you. He was pruning you. You see, there are seasons when God must dismantle what was comfortable in order to prepare you for what is coming. He breaks before He builds. The breaking is not rejection, it is redirection. The potter must press the clay before shaping it. And so must heaven press you before revealing you. You are in that divine pressure where every crack becomes evidence of transformation. During this season, you may have felt abandoned. Prayers seem to hit the ceiling and fall silent. But heaven never turned away. In fact, this is when God is closest. When you can't hear Him, it's often because He is working so deeply within you that words would only distract. The teacher is always silent during the test, not because he left, but because he trusts what He's already placed inside you. The breaking season exposes what was never meant to stay. Relationships, opportunities, old versions of you all must go so that your spirit can breathe again. What once defined you can no longer contain you. The wine of your new anointing cannot stay in the skin of your old identity. And though it hurts, this is mercy in disguise. There were moments when you begged God to stop the breaking, when you said, "I can't take anymore." Yet here you are. The fact that you're still here means the breaking did not break you, it built you. It revealed the resilience heaven already saw. You are proof that endurance births anointing. According to what is revealed in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Let that truth settle inside your wounds. You were never alone in your brokenness. Every tear was seen. Every ache was measured. God does not waste pain, He repurposes it. The place that hurt the most becomes the very place His glory chooses to dwell. Your breaking season was never about destruction. It was about exposure. It revealed who truly walked with you, who pretended, and who was sent to shape you. It showed you the difference between dependence and devotion. Heaven allowed the storm to clear the stage so the real characters could be seen. And in that exposure, you found something priceless: clarity. It was there, in the middle of loss, that you began to recognize the voice of God more clearly. Pain sharpened your discernment. You learned to listen beyond noise, to sense His presence in quiet surrender. You stopped chasing validation from man and started craving revelation from heaven. This is how the chosen are forged, not in applause, but in isolation. The breaking season humbles the ego and elevates the spirit. It strips away pride, performance, and pretension until only authenticity remains. You can't fake faith when you've been through fire. Those who have walked through true breaking carry a gentleness the world can't counterfeit. They no longer speak from theory, they speak from encounter. You are becoming that voice. The softness in you now is not weakness, it's wisdom. The calm you carry is not disinterest, it's discernment. The silence you prefer is not isolation, it's intimacy. You have learned to be still and know that He is God. There will come a moment soon when you'll look back at this season and thank God for every crack, every loss, every delay. Because the very things that broke you are the things that made room for light to enter. The strength you now carry would not exist without the shaking. The humility you now live with would never have grown without the breaking. Chosen one, you are not the same as you were before the storm. The fire refined your faith, and the ashes became your altar. You have learned to worship not because of outcomes, but because of who God is. That is the power of the breaking season. It shifts your praise from what you receive to what you've become. So don't despise this chapter. It is holy ground. The breaking is not the end. It is the doorway. The sound of something breaking in your life is heaven rearranging the walls around your destiny. Out of shattered plans, new blueprints are being drawn. Out of your brokenness, beauty is being born. You are not being undone, you are being unveiled. The breaking season is proof that God is close, and that glory is about to rise from what was once pain. Chosen one. In the quiet places where no one sees, heaven has been training your ears to recognize a different kind of voice. The world shouts, but God whispers. And those who are truly chosen must learn to hear the whisper in the wilderness. You have been wondering why life became so silent, why the noise of the world faded, why the people who once spoke to you fell quiet. It's because God wanted you to hear Him without interference. There is a sacred beauty in divine silence. It is the space where faith learns to breathe again. In the wilderness, you discover that God's voice is not always thunder or fire. It's often a still, small sound that speaks directly to the soul. This is where He teaches you to depend on whispers instead of applause, on revelation instead of recognition. When you walk through wilderness seasons, you begin to see that every echo, every pause, every delay carries purpose. You are being taught to trust guidance that doesn't come with explanations. Heaven doesn't always shout instructions. Sometimes it simply stirs your heart and says, "Go." That gentle pull you've been feeling is not confusion, it's confirmation. You have been walking through dry places, yet even here, manna still falls. You have felt alone, but if you listen closely, you will hear wings fluttering above you. Angels walk silently beside those who listen. The wilderness isn't punishment, it's private tutoring. It's where prophets are formed, where leaders are molded, where destiny is clarified. As was spoken in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. And after the earthquake came a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire came a gentle whisper. That whisper is what sustains you now. It is not a command, it is an invitation. The voice of God is not trying to frighten you. It is trying to remind you that you are never alone. Even when it feels like everything familiar has disappeared, when God sends you into the wilderness, He strips away the noise so that your spiritual hearing becomes clear. He silences the external so that the internal can awaken. You begin to hear things you once missed: the heartbeat of heaven, the rhythm of grace, the subtle nudges that lead to miracles. The wilderness voice doesn't just give direction, it gives identity. It tells you who you are before it tells you where to go. You may have thought you were lost, but really, you were being located. Every moment of silence was a map leading you back to yourself, to the version of you that heaven designed. And now, as this word reaches your spirit, let it be a reminder that you are not forgotten. You are in divine training. You are learning how to walk not by sight, but by sound. You are learning that obedience to a whisper is louder than the world's approval. If this space, these words, these divine whispers have touched something in you, if they've been like water to your desert places, then let your heart respond with gratitude. Not out of duty, but out of agreement. Every time you like, share, or subscribe, you become a carrier of the whisper, helping heaven's voice find another wandering soul. And if your spirit ever feels moved to go deeper to help this light reach further, consider sowing a seed. Not of obligation, but of overflow. Think of it like placing another candle beside the flame that warmed you, or adding one more drop of oil into the lamp that burns for others. Your donation keeps the light alive, a quiet act of faith that says, "Let this river of hope keep flowing." This is never demanded, only invited. Giving is not a price, it's participation. It is the gentle ripple of one grateful heart extending warmth to another. And even if all you can give is prayer, presence, or a simple share, know that it is enough. You are already part of this divine current. So if this message spoke life into your dry season, take a moment, like, share, subscribe, or, and if your heart leads you, donate, not to pay for light, but to help it reach the next soul sitting in darkness. The wilderness is no longer silent, it's singing. You are part of that song now, chosen one. The whisper that reached you through these words will keep moving through you, carrying peace into the hearts still waiting to hear. Every seed of faith you plant becomes an echo of light, a quiet miracle reaching hearts you may never meet, but heaven will remember every ripple your generosity creates. Walk forward, chosen one. Carry the whisper. Let your presence remind the world that God still speaks softly, and those who listen become His living voice on earth. Chosen one. Destiny rarely announces itself with fanfare. It arrives quietly, weaving through the ordinary moments of your life until one day you realize everything has been leading here. Every disappointment, every delay, every closed door was an unseen thread pulling you toward divine alignment. You may not have noticed it, but heaven has been arranging intersections that no human hand could manufacture. There comes a time when life no longer feels random. Conversations seem guided, encounters feel purposeful, even detours start making sense. That is what divine intersection looks like. It's the moment when heaven's blueprint and your earthly path finally meet. You are stepping into that moment now. Perhaps you've been wondering why certain people suddenly left, why you've been drawn to new faces or unexpected opportunities. It's because God is aligning your circle with your calling. Those who once walked with you may not be meant to build with you. And that's not rejection, it's refinement. The next season requires different alliances, holy partnerships, relationships built on purpose, not preference. You see, divine intersections are not coincidences, they are confirmations. Heaven works through timing, and timing is God's signature. Every person being brought into your life now carries a piece of your next assignment. Some will speak destiny into you. Others will open doors that your effort never could. Learn to discern the difference between distraction and divine design. Not everyone who looks like help is sent from heaven, but those who are will carry peace that cannot be imitated. In every intersection, God gives you a choice to cling to the familiar or to step into the flow of His plan. Familiar feels safe, but destiny requires movement. If you stay where you were, you'll miss what was meant for you. Step forward, even when you don't see the full picture. You are not walking into uncertainty, you are walking into orchestration. The prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end and will not prove false. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. That verse is your confirmation. The intersections you are encountering are not accidents, they are the appointed time arriving. What you have been praying for is approaching with precision. Heaven never rushes but never forgets. You are being positioned for promises that were spoken long ago. Pay attention to the quiet nudges, that new opportunity that doesn't make sense, that person who appeared just when you felt lost, that sudden urge to move, speak, or create. These are not impulses, they are divine signals. God speaks in patterns, and those patterns repeat until you finally recognize them as instruction. Do not fear losing what you outgrow. The old connections served their season. The new ones serve your purpose. It is not betrayal to evolve, it is obedience. The people who truly carry heaven in them will celebrate your becoming, not resent it. You are entering the flow of divine alignment now. It will feel like peace wrapped in progress. You'll notice doors opening that your strength could not unlock. You'll feel drawn toward people who speak life instead of doubt. You'll begin to sense destiny not as a dream, but as direction. Chosen one, this is your moment of convergence. The currents of heaven are pulling your life into synchronization with divine will. Don't resist it. Don't analyze it to death. Just trust that God knows what He's doing. He has already walked this path ahead of you. When you align with destiny, everything shifts: your timing, your confidence, even your energy. You begin to see that nothing was wasted. The pain became preparation. The waiting became wisdom. And now every step forward carries purpose. Soon, you will stand in places that once seemed unreachable. You will meet people who feel like prophecy fulfilled. You will look back and say, "Now I see it, God was aligning everything all along." This is the divine intersection, the meeting point between your obedience and His orchestration. Step boldly, for every road that felt confusing is merging into one clear direction now. And if this message resonates deep in your spirit, affirm it aloud. Comment 505. It's a number of divine alignment and transition, a sign that you are stepping into perfect timing. When you type it, let it be your way of saying, "I am ready to move where heaven leads." The alignment has already begun. Walk in it. When you comment 555, "I align with heaven's timing," you are not typing numbers, you are making a prophetic declaration. It is your public yes to divine order. Your agreement that every step, every meeting, every delay is now working together for your destiny's perfect unfolding. Chosen one, within every person called by heaven, there exists a secret war, a battle no one else can see. It's not fought with weapons or words, but within the silent chambers of your own heart. It is the war between who you were and who you are becoming, between comfort and calling, between flesh and spirit. You are not losing your mind. You are being transformed. This war is proof of your purpose. If there were no assignment on your life, darkness wouldn't bother contending for your attention. But because you carry light, the shadows take notice. Every thought of doubt, every sudden fear, every whisper of unworthiness is not random, it's warfare. The enemy knows he cannot destroy the chosen, so he tries to distract them. You may have felt it lately, this tension within you. One part of you longs for peace, while another part burns with divine urgency. You want to rest, yet something in you refuses to be still. That is the sound of your destiny knocking on the door of your hesitation. Heaven is calling, but the noise of the world competes for volume. You stand in between, a vessel under pressure, learning to choose the voice of truth amidst the chaos. According to what is written in the letter to the Romans, chapter 7, verse 22. For in my inner being I delight in God's law. This is the reality of every chosen soul, the inner delight of the spirit battling the outer distractions of the flesh. The call of heaven pulls you upward while gravity of doubt tries to hold you down. The struggle you feel is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of formation. When gold is purified, it is heated until the impurities rise to the surface. That's what's happening inside you. The heat you feel is not punishment. It's purification. The divine refiner is near, stirring your inner fire so that the true you can emerge. He is removing false identities, unhealthy desires, and lingering fears until what remains is courage clothed in peace. This inner war is also your training ground. Each battle fought in secret prepares you for victory in public. You are learning to master yourself, to silence the voices that do not belong, to recognize which thoughts are yours and which were sent to sabotage your faith. Every time you resist the urge to quit, heaven celebrates. Every time you choose prayer over panic, your spirit gains ground. You may wonder, when will the war end? The truth is it won't, not entirely. The presence of the battle is not failure. It's the rhythm of spiritual growth. You will always feel tension where transformation is taking place. But the difference now is that you no longer fight alone. The spirit within you wars on your behalf. Angels surround you when your strength runs low. You are never outnumbered, even in your weakest moment. Remember this, the battlefield within is sacred. It's where the old you dies so the true you can live. Don't despise the struggle, it's sculpting your soul. When you feel torn, don't retreat. Worship when your thoughts grow heavy. Lift them like offerings. Let your prayers become your sword. This is the paradox of the chosen. You fight battles that others never see. Yet you emerge with peace that others cannot comprehend. The more intense the war inside, the greater the victory ahead. You are being prepared to lead others through the same chaos you've survived. Sometimes, the war within isn't about choosing good over evil, it's about choosing faith over fear. Choosing to believe that God is still writing your story even when you can't read the next line. Choosing to trust that you are still held, even when your grip is weak. Chosen one, every tear you've shed in silence has watered your resilience. The tension inside you will soon give birth to clarity. The confusion will fade, and what will remain is unshakable peace, the kind that comes only from surrender. You are learning the highest form of warfare, stillness. When you stop trying to win in your strength and allow God to fight through you, the enemy loses his access. The war within becomes a song of worship. The conflict becomes communion. And one day soon, you'll look back and realize that this war did not destroy you, it defined you. The same pressure that once made you tremble will become the testimony that sets others free. For every inner battle you endure, heaven builds strength unseen. Do not be afraid of this war. It is the birthplace of your authority. From it, you will rise sharper, wiser, and more steadfast than ever before. The victory is already written, you are simply walking it out. The peace you crave is not the absence of battle, but the presence of God within it. You carry that presence now, and even as the war continues, you are winning, one surrendered moment at a time. Chosen one, there comes a moment when the battle shifts not outside you but within your understanding. The same power that once felt distant begins to stir inside your spirit, and you realize something breathtaking. You are not merely a servant of heaven. You are its vessel. You carry divine authority. For too long, you may have walked as though you were powerless, praying as if you were begging. But you were never meant to plead for crumbs from the table. You were meant to speak as one seated in heavenly places. There is a difference between praying for victory and praying from victory. The first is fear, the second is faith. You are entering the latter. You have spent so long asking God to move that you forgot He already placed the power within you. Authority is not arrogance, it is awareness. When Jesus said, "Greater works than these shall you do," He wasn't exaggerating, He was awakening. The same Spirit that raised Him from the dead now breathes through your lungs, guiding your steps, empowering your words, transforming your very presence into a weapon of light. The reason darkness fears you is not because of your name, but because of the name that lives in you. You don't just carry hope, you carry heaven. Every room you enter shifts spiritually because light doesn't need to announce itself. It simply arrives and darkness must flee. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 20. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Pause and hear that again. His power is at work within you, not somewhere far away, not reserved for others, but alive in your very core. You are not waiting for divine permission to move. You are learning to move with divine partnership. You have prayed for open doors, yet God is now teaching you to become the key. You have asked for signs, but He is making you the sign. You have longed for miracles, yet heaven is whispering, you are the vessel through which they will come. This is the revelation of authority. It's not about control, it's about alignment. When you finally understand your identity, fear loses its grip. Fear thrives in ignorance, but dies in revelation. The moment you realize who you truly are, every chain begins to crumble. The enemy's greatest weapon was never power, it was deception. His strategy is to convince you that you are small, voiceless, and unworthy. But revelation exposes him. You were made in the image of the one who speaks worlds into existence. That same creative force rests in your spirit. Authority doesn't look like shouting, it looks like knowing. When you walk with quiet certainty, storms recognize your voice. When you declare peace, chaos obeys. When you speak life, dead things remember how to breathe. This is not because of your perfection, it's because of your position. You stand not beneath circumstances, but above them, clothed in the authority of the Most High. The revelation of authority will change the way you pray. You will stop asking for rescue and start declaring restoration. You will stop begging for strength and start commanding mountains to move. You will stop fearing the darkness and begin to use your light intentionally. Chosen one, authority requires responsibility. You are trusted with power not to dominate, but to liberate. You are called to speak healing, not judgment, to bring order, not chaos, to remind others of the same authority within them. The true mark of divine power is humility, knowing it's not yours, but His flowing through you. As you step into this awareness, life will begin to respond differently. Opportunities will recognize you. Circumstances will bend to accommodate divine purpose. The atmosphere around you will start to shift, not because you force it, but because heaven flows naturally through you. You are heaven's representative on earth, a walking embassy of divine will. When you speak, it's not mere words, it's decree. When you love, it's not sentiment, it's healing. When you forgive, it's not weakness, it's warfare. You are the expression of the unseen kingdom. This is why the enemy tried to silence you, because your voice carries authority. But now, you know too much to go back. You've seen the truth of who you are: chosen, equipped, unstoppable. Walk with quiet confidence. Speak with grace and conviction. Live as one who knows that heaven and earth move when you believe. The revelation of authority is not a momentary spark, it is your new normal. And when doubt tries to return, remind yourself you are not searching for power, you already carry it. You are not trying to become something, you already are. The revelation is simply the awakening of what has always been true. You carry the light. You are the authority. You were never meant to live beneath the storm, you were created to command it. Chosen one, every revelation must be tested. The moment you understand who you are, heaven allows circumstances to prove it. This is the test of obedience, not a test of intelligence or strength, but of surrender. You've already been marked, refined, and empowered. Now comes the question that defines destiny: will you obey, even when it costs you? Obedience is not about blind compliance, it's about trust. It is the language of faith expressed through action. When God whispers, "Go," your response determines what unfolds next. You may not understand the full picture, but faith doesn't demand details, it demands direction. Every great calling has a moment where God says, "Now." The chosen recognize that voice and move, even when logic protests. There were times you prayed for miracles, but miracles are often hidden inside instructions. Naaman's healing came from a strange command to dip 7 times in the river. Peter's breakthrough came when he cast his net again after failure. Abraham's promise unfolded only when he walked away from everything familiar. Destiny responds to obedience, not comfort. You might say, but what if I'm wrong? Beloved, obedience is not about perfection, it's about posture. When your heart is surrendered, even your mistakes turn into guidance. God doesn't expect flawless execution, He desires willing hearts. The steps of the obedient are ordered, even when they stumble. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 33. Walk in obedience to all that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live and prosper and prolong your days in the land that you will possess. This is not a burden, it's an invitation. Obedience is the bridge between promise and fulfillment. You can pray, fast, and declare, but until you act, heaven waits. The miracle is often waiting on the other side of your movement. The test of obedience is rarely easy because it always requires letting go of something: fear, pride, comfort, or control. You will feel the tension between what you know and what you must trust. That's where faith is born. When you obey without full understanding, you prove that your allegiance is to the voice, not the outcome. Some of your greatest blessings are disguised as instructions that feel inconvenient. The door you're praying for may already be open, it just requires your step. The provision you need might already exist. It's waiting for your obedience to unlock it. Heaven doesn't send angels to move your feet, it sends conviction to move your heart. Chosen one, obedience is not weakness, it's spiritual warfare. When you say yes to God, you silence the enemy. When you follow divine direction, you disarm confusion. Your yes shakes the atmosphere because it proves that light still responds to the word. You are learning that obedience is the rhythm of destiny. The more you walk in it, the clearer your path becomes. It's not always comfortable, but it's always safe. God never calls you to obedience without preparing provision along the way. He doesn't send you without support. He sends you with His presence. Remember, this delayed obedience is still disobedience. The longer you hesitate, the more you delay the harvest. Destiny doesn't wait forever, it requires your participation. When you feel the pull in your spirit, don't overthink it. Move, speak, forgive, begin. Heaven honors motion. There's a sweetness in surrender that fear will never taste. Once you say yes, peace follows. Once you release control, doors open. You'll realize that obedience doesn't drain you, it aligns you. Every act of trust builds momentum. And soon, you'll see that your obedience is shaping miracles for generations after you. You are not being tested to be broken, you are being trusted to be proven. God already knows what's in you. He just wants you to see it too. And when the whisper comes again, even if it leads you into the unknown, remember that your feet are already anointed for paths unseen. So now, as you take in this word, let your spirit agree with heaven's will. Comment, "I choose yes." These 3 words are not just text on a screen, they are the sound of surrender. When you write them, you are telling heaven, "I am ready. I will obey. I trust you even when I don't see the whole way." Obedience is not loss, it's access. Your yes is your key. When you comment, "I choose yes," you're not agreeing with a message, you're aligning with heaven. It's your declaration that fear no longer rules you and that faith now leads every step you take forward. Each yes becomes a seed planted in eternity, echoing beyond this moment. It tells heaven you are ready to walk, trust, and become the living proof of God's perfect timing. Chosen one, you are not walking this path alone. All over the world, there are others like you, those who have felt the call, those who have walked through fire and come out shining brighter. Heaven calls them the remnant, the ones who did not give up when everything around them fell silent. And now, you are beginning to find them. This is the gathering of the remnant. You've started to notice it, haven't you? The people who suddenly appear in your life and speak a language your soul recognizes. They may not look like you, live where you live, or share your past, but when they speak, something in you stirs. That's not coincidence. That's connection. Heaven is weaving hearts together across time and distance, building an invisible network of light. You are part of that design. For so long, you walked feeling misunderstood when you tried to explain your vision, your sensitivity, your faith, but others called it strange. Yet now, you're beginning to see that what made you different was never meant to isolate you. It was meant to identify you. The light in you was calling out to others carrying the same flame. The apostle reminds us in the letter to Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 24. "And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds." This is what the remnant does. They remind each other to keep burning. When your fire flickers, theirs reignites you. When you feel unseen, they speak your name in prayer. Together, you become a constellation of purpose, individual stars. Yes, but aligned by the same divine map. Chosen one, this is a sacred season of connection. Heaven is gathering those who carry the same frequency of faith. You are being positioned beside those who complement your calling, who sharpen your discernment, and who walk in harmony with your mission. It's not about crowds, it's about covenant. It's not about numbers, it's about unity. You are part of a spiritual orchestra, and the conductor is bringing every instrument into harmony. The notes of your story blend with others, forming melodies the world has never heard. Each yes you've spoken, each tear you've shed, each prayer you've whispered, they've all been woven into a song heaven is now releasing. In this gathering, you will rediscover hope. You will realize you were never alone, just early. The others are arriving now, prophets, dreamers, healers, builders, each carrying something the world needs. Together, you will restore what darkness tried to scatter. And if this message finds you resonating deeply, if you feel that holy tug inside, know this: you are being drawn into divine community, a circle of hearts that beat to heaven's rhythm. If this space, these words, this flow of light has touched you, if it's helped you remember your purpose, your peace, your voice, then let your gratitude ripple outward. Every time you like, share, or subscribe, you're not just supporting a page, you're extending the circle. You're helping another lost soul hear the same whisper that found you. And if you've ever wondered how to keep this stream flowing, to keep the light alive for others who still wander in the dark, consider giving, not as a transaction, but as a continuation. Think of it as lighting another lantern along the path, so someone behind you can see the way, or like adding another stone to the bridge you once needed, ensuring that no one crosses alone. Your donation becomes a beam of light, a quiet act of faith that says, let this message continue to find those who need it most. There is no pressure in this, only invitation. Giving is never demanded here, it's discovered. You give not because you must, but because your spirit recognizes value. Every act of support, no matter how small, is sacred. It says, I believe in the light that's healing me, and I want it to reach others. So if this message has warmed your heart, let your action be your amen. Like, share, or subscribe, not out of habit, but as an offering of alignment. You're saying, I choose to be part of the movement of light. And if your heart feels led to plant a seed, to donate, to invest in the voice that speaks life into weary places, know that it's more than giving. It's participating. It's becoming the echo of grace. Because this isn't about one person's voice, it's about all of us together. Each gift, each click, each kind act is a ripple in a vast ocean of awakening. Together, we make sure that the whisper of hope never fades. So done, chosen one, but stand tall among the remnant. You are seen, needed, and loved. The gathering has begun, and your light makes the circle brighter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And if you feel led, thank you for giving, not out of obligation, but as a free act of love that lets heaven keep speaking through us all. Chosen one. There comes a time in the divine journey when heaven entrusts you with something that once belonged to another. It is not about inheritance in the earthly sense, it's about mantle. The mantle transfer is one of the holiest moments in your walk with God, when responsibility and anointing shift from one vessel to another, ensuring that the flame of purpose never dies. You may not have realized it, but you've been standing in the training ground for this. The moments that humbled you, the seasons that silenced you, the nights that forced you to depend on God for every breath, they were all preparation. The mantle never falls on the untested. Before heaven crowns, it always carves. Mantles are not given for status, they are given for service. They are heavy. Sacred garments woven with prayer, sacrifice, and obedience. When one generation grows weary, heaven looks for willing shoulders to carry what must continue. That is why you feel the weight pressing upon you now. It's not pressure, it's passing. The ancient words recorded in the second book of Kings, chapter 2, verse 9. When they had crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, "Tell me, what can I do for you before I am taken from you?" Elisha said. "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit." The double portion is not about fame or fortune. It's about faithfulness. Elisha did not desire power for himself. He desired the ability to complete what his mentor began. That is the heart heaven seeks in you. Not ambition, but continuation. You are called to carry what others could not finish, to restore what was lost, to multiply what once seemed small. The mantle is not always visible. Sometimes it comes as a burden that will not leave you, a passion that burns even when ignored, a cause that calls your name in the night. That is how heaven transfers purpose. You don't claim it. It claims you. You may have watched others mishandle what they were given, talents wasted, callings ignored, fires extinguished by compromise. But God does not let his purpose die. When one hand drops the flame, he looks for another to lift it higher. That is where you come in. You are the continuation of a divine story that began long before you were born. The mantle you carry may not resemble the one before it. God never repeats himself. He evolves his expressions. Elijah called down fire. Elisha healed waters. Same spirit, different manifestation. The same anointing that rested on your predecessors may now flow through you in new forms through your words. Creativity, leadership, compassion. Don't try to mimic what was. Honor it by becoming what's next. Receiving a mantle means carrying both privilege and pain. The same anointing that empowers you will also isolate you. The same oil that sets you apart will also make you misunderstood. Yet, remember this. You are not called to be understood. You are called to be obedient. The mantle doesn't fit everyone, and it's not meant to. It was tailored for your shoulders alone. As you carry it, walk with humility. Mantles are sustained not by pride, but by purity. The weight of divine authority can only rest safely on those whose hearts remain bowed. The moment arrogance enters, the fabric tears. But those who stay surrendered find that the weight becomes light, because grace lifts with them. Chosen one, do not shrink from the mantle you've been given. You might feel unqualified, but heaven chose you precisely because of that humility. God trusts you to protect what others have broken, to rebuild altars long forgotten, to reignite fires that once burned low. In time, you will see the beauty of the exchange, that your pain became the foundation of your power. Every trial you endured carved capacity into your spirit. Now, when others see the glow upon you, they will not realize it was formed through tears. The mantle you carry is not for display, it's for destiny. It is a torch meant to guide others through darkness. You are not replacing anyone, you are continuing something eternal. And one day, when your time comes to pass it forward, you will recognize another who carries that same fire in their eyes. Then you will know that purpose never ends, it simply changes hands. Every mantle carried with love multiplies light. When you lift it with reverence, heaven leans closer, breathing new strength into your spirit so that the flame never flickers nor fades. And when the time comes to pass it on, do so with open hands. Legacy isn't lost, it's planted, growing in hearts you may never meet. Chosen one, every mantle carried into battle must eventually meet confrontation. You cannot hold divine authority and remain unnoticed by darkness. The moment you rise, resistance recognizes you. But do not fear, this is not a sign of weakness. It's the proof of your impact. The prophetic always provokes opposition. Light doesn't fight for attention, it simply reveals what's been hiding in the shadows. This is the season of prophetic confrontation, where what is false trembles before what is true. It's not a battle of noise, but of presence. You won't need to shout. You won't need to prove yourself. The same authority that once stirred within you will now begin to speak through you. There will be moments when you stand face to face with what once terrified you. The fear that used to paralyze you will now bow under your command. The people who once mocked your faith will quietly witness your strength. The situations that once drained your spirit will break open under your words. This is not arrogance, it's alignment. Heaven fights through those who dare to believe, as it is written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19. I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you. That promise still stands. When you speak truth, the atmosphere shifts. You were never designed to fear darkness. Darkness was designed to fear you. Every step you take carries spiritual authority. Every word you speak echoes beyond the natural realm. You don't need to match the energy of the storm, you simply need to stand, and it will recognize your voice. Prophetic confrontation doesn't always look like conflict. Sometimes it's silence that breaks strongholds. Sometimes it's forgiveness that disarms hatred. Sometimes it's compassion that conquers cruelty. You fight not with fists, but with faith. The weapon forged in you is unseen but undeniable peace that confuses the enemy, love that never retreats, authority that doesn't boast. The enemy will try to test your identity because he fears your revelation. He knows that once you fully understand who you are, his influence crumbles. That's why confrontation feels personal. It strikes at your confidence. But remember, you don't stand in your name, you stand in his. Every confrontation is heaven's opportunity to demonstrate its dominion through you. Do not run from the moment of challenge. When the voice of doubt whispers, you can't, let your spirit answer, I already have. When fear tries to rise, remind it that perfect love still casts it out. You have walked through storms that others didn't survive. This next wave will not destroy you. It will announce you. Prophetic authority is not about domination. It's about restoration. You are not sent to crush people. You are sent to awaken them. The words you carry are seeds of deliverance. When you speak, strongholds begin to crack, not because of volume, but because of purity. Heaven backs clean vessels, clean. In the days ahead, you may be led into conversations, environments, or decisions that feel like spiritual battlegrounds. Don't panic. You are not stepping into danger, you are stepping into demonstration. Heaven trusts you with these moments because you know the difference between reaction and revelation. You move when the Spirit moves, and you stop when the Spirit says wait. This is how victory looks for the chosen. It's not loud, it's luminous. You don't need to prove your calling, the evidence will show itself. Prophetic confrontation is never about crushing others. It's about confronting lies with living truth. When you stand in light, everything false loses its place. And so, as you read these words, take a breath and recognize that the warfare around you is not punishment, it's proof. You were chosen for confrontation because you carry what confronts darkness effortlessly: peace, authority, and unwavering faith. You are not the storm, you are the calm within it. You are not the echo, you are the voice. You are not fragile, you are fortified. Heaven doesn't send the fearful, it sends the faithful. Now, as a declaration of your confidence in God's authority, comment 444. This number represents divine protection and heavenly order. It is a prophetic symbol that heaven's armies surround you, that your steps are guarded, and that your authority stands secure. When you type it, let it be your silent decree: I walk in divine authority, and no darkness can touch what God has chosen. When you comment 444, I walk protected, you're not typing digits, you're affirming divine alignment. It's your agreement that heaven's order governs your path and no darkness can overturn it. Each 404 becomes a spiritual seal, echoing through unseen realms, a reminder that angels stand watch, that authority flows through you, and that peace remains your permanent atmosphere. Chosen one, there is a sacred fire that follows every true calling, a refining blaze that tests, cleanses, and strengthens what heaven has placed within you. It is not punishment, but purification. You have entered the fire of refinement, the stage where everything false melts away and only what is eternal remains. You may not recognize it at first. The fire does not always come as suffering. Sometimes it comes as sudden change. People leave, doors close, plans fall apart, and you wonder if you've lost your way. But no, this is the hand of the refiner, guiding the flame precisely where it needs to burn. He is not destroying you. He is defining you. Fire is both fierce and faithful. It consumes what is temporary so that what is permanent can shine. It burns away pride, fear, dependency, and distraction until only truth is left. The process is uncomfortable because the false self resists dying. Yet every spark that hurts you also heals you. Think of gold. It does not become pure by being admired, it becomes pure by being melted. You, too, are being refined in the furnace of transformation. Every challenge you face is not chaos, it's calibration. God is adjusting your heart so that it can hold greater glory. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 66, verse 10. For you, God tested us. You refined us like silver. These words are not poetic, they are prophetic. You are being refined like silver heated until the impurities rise to the surface. Not to shame you, but to set you free. What feels like loss is liberation. What feels like burning is birthing. During refinement, you will notice something beautiful happening: clarity. The same situations that once confused you will begin to make sense. The same people who once hurt you will no longer have the power to shake you. Fire reveals motives, purifies relationships, and simplifies priorities. It teaches you to distinguish between what glitters and what is gold. You may ask, why must it hurt? Because only pressure reveals purity. Diamonds form in darkness and oil flows only when olives are crushed. Heaven's fire is not random, it is customized to your purpose. The level of your calling determines the intensity of your refining. Those trusted with much must be purified deeply. In the heat, you might feel stripped and bare. Old habits will fall away. Old desires will fade. And for a while, you may not recognize yourself, and that's the point. You are shedding everything you were never meant to be. The fire doesn't change your identity, it reveals it. Beneath the ashes lies the truest version of you, radiant and unbreakable. Refinement also teaches you surrender. When you stop resisting the process, peace emerges. You learn that control is an illusion, and trust is your only shield. The more you yield, the faster transformation happens. You stop asking, why me, and start saying, use me. There will be moments when you feel like the fire is too much, when you cry out for relief. But remember, the refiner never leaves the furnace unattended. He sits beside the flame, watching closely, ensuring it never burns longer than necessary. When he sees his reflection in you, he knows the process is complete. After refinement, you will notice that what once broke you now builds you. The same trials that once made you tremble will become the foundation of your strength. You will carry wisdom where pain once lived, compassion where judgment once stood, and peace where fear once reigned. The fire also changes your voice. It softens your tone, deepens your empathy, and fills your words with weight. Those who have walked through fire speak differently. They no longer speak to impress. They speak to heal. They carry authenticity that cannot be faked because it was forged in flame. Chosen one, the fire of refinement is not your enemy, it's your escort into elevation. It's preparing you for what ordinary hearts cannot carry. Do not rush it. Let it burn what must go and strengthen what must stay. When the fire finishes, you will not look the same. Your eyes will carry peace, your steps will carry authority, and your heart will carry light. You will be unshakable because you have already survived what was meant to consume you. And one day soon, others will look at you and say, "How did you shine so bright after such darkness?" And you will smile and answer softly, "Because I met God in the fire." Chosen one, when the flames of refinement have done their work, something extraordinary begins to unfold. The ashes settle, the smoke clears, and for the first time, you can see yourself as heaven has always seen you. This is the revelation of identity, the moment when the reflection staring back at you is no longer shaped by fear or failure, but by divine truth. For much of your journey, you saw yourself through fractured mirrors. The opinions of others distorted your reflection. The pain of rejection painted lies over your worth. The weight of past mistakes whispered, "You are not enough." But the fire has burned away those false images. What remains is pure identity, your truest self, untouched by shame, untouched by doubt. You were never ordinary. Even before the world named you, heaven had already called you chosen. The label different that others used to mock you was actually prophecy. You were never meant to blend in. Your uniqueness was not a flaw, it was the fingerprint of divine intention. As the prophet Isaiah wrote, chapter 43, verse 1, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." Those words are not distant history, they are your present reality. God Himself calls you by name, not by title, not by mistake, not by what others think you are, but by what He knows you to be. You belong to Him. You always have. Identity in heaven's language is not built on what you do. It is built on who you are. You are not defined by your past, your failures, your scars, or your fears. You are defined by your origin breathed into existence by divine intent. You are a spirit wrapped in skin, carrying eternity within mortal form. When you finally grasp who you are, the lies lose their power. The opinions of others no longer shake you, because truth has taken root deeper than their words can reach. You begin to move differently, calmly, confidently, with quiet authority. You no longer chase validation, you carry it. You no longer beg for belonging, you recognize it. Revelation of identity brings restoration of clarity. You understand why certain paths never worked because they were beneath your design. You see why some people could not stay because they were never meant to shape your reflection. Identity reveals boundaries, and boundaries protect your peace. When you walk in divine identity, comparison dies. You no longer look at others and feel less than. You can celebrate their victories without questioning your own. Identity frees you from the exhausting race for relevance because you know what's yours can't be taken, and what's not yours won't fulfill you. There is power in knowing yourself through heaven's eyes. The moment you see your worth, the enemy loses leverage. He can't tempt you with imitation when you already know you're original. He can't trap you in insecurity when you understand that your existence itself is evidence of divine purpose. You were never a mistake. You were a strategy. Heaven planted you in this generation as an answer, not an accident. Every gift within you, your compassion, your creativity, your resilience was placed intentionally. Even your struggles have meaning. They birthed empathy, depth, and discernment. And This revelation also transforms your relationship with God. You stop approaching Him as a distant deity and begin to walk with Him as a loving Father. You no longer pray from guilt, but from gratitude. You don't strive for His approval, you rest in His affection. You realize that your value was never in your performance, it was in your presence. Chosen one, the revelation of identity changes everything. It doesn't make life easier, but it makes it clearer. You begin to recognize that your journey wasn't punishment. It was unveiling. Each heartbreak was a brushstroke painting the masterpiece of who you are. Every detour was a lesson in direction. Every silence was space for truth to grow. Identity isn't about discovering something new. It's about remembering what you forgot. Deep down, you've always known you were different, that something divine lived within you. You just needed the storms and fires to strip away the illusion so you could see it again. Now, stand in front of your reflection not with pride, but with peace. Look into your own eyes and see what heaven sees: strength, grace, authority, and light. The world may still not understand you, but that no longer matters. Understanding yourself through God's eyes is enough. You are not broken, you are becoming. You are not behind, you are aligned. You are not waiting for approval, you are walking in identity. This revelation is your rebirth, your awakening, your declaration that you are finally free to be who you were always meant to be. Walk forward in this truth, chosen one. You are not trying to become someone you already are. The mirror no longer lies. The ashes have spoken. The light within you has finally remembered its name. Chosen one, every crown that heaven places upon a soul is shaped by the weight of a cross. This is the law of divine balance, glory and surrender, power and humility, light and shadow walking hand in hand. You cannot carry one without embracing the other. To reign with grace, you must first kneel with reverence. You've carried your cross longer than you realize. It was in the loneliness that matured your strength, in the trials that refined your compassion, in the tears that softened your heart. Every moment of breaking was silently molding your crown. The world saw your pain as defeat, but heaven saw it as formation. The cross is never a symbol of loss. It is the path to coronation. It's where self dissolves and spirit awakens. You've been learning, perhaps without knowing, that surrender does not make you smaller, it expands you. Every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, you were lifting your cross. Every time you loved when it hurt, you were being crowned in unseen realms. As the Apostle Paul wrote in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. Your crown is not made of gold or jewels, it's woven from endurance, faith, and mercy. Each act of grace, each prayer whispered in darkness, each time you refused to give up, they became threads of light shaping your eternal reward. The cross taught you that pain is temporary, but purpose is eternal. And now, as you step into this new phase of your calling, heaven whispers, carry your cross with peace. Wear your crown with humility. The two are not enemies, they complete each other. The cross keeps you grounded. The crown reminds you of your glory. Together they create balance, the kind of strength that doesn't need to boast because it simply radiates truth. You've walked through seasons that tried to break your spirit, yet they birthed unshakable depth within you. That depth is your crown. You've been misunderstood, but that isolation sharpened your discernment that wisdom is your crown. You've forgiven those who never apologize, that mercy is your crown. The world chases crowns made of recognition, but heaven crowns those who choose surrender. Your quiet obedience is more royal than any earthly title. You reign not by dominance, but by devotion. You lead not from pride, but from purity. If these words have reminded you of your light, if they've helped you feel seen, strengthened, or closer to God, let your heart respond gently. When you like or share, it's not a click, it's a lantern left for another traveler. Your small act of gratitude becomes a spark of hope for someone you may never meet. And if your heart ever feels led to give, to donate, don't see it as payment. See it as planting. You are watering the soil of encouragement that has already given you fruit. Each seed of support keeps this garden of words alive, allowing its fragrance to reach others in need of peace. Subscribing is simply saying, I want to stay where the light lives. It's your way of keeping connection with the voice that reminds you who you are when the world grows loud again. Every gesture, you're listening, you're sharing, your giving is sacred. None of it is demanded. All of it is received with reverence. You are free to let this message rest in your heart as it is, or to let it flow toward others who need it. Both are holy. The cross you've carried has made you gentle. The crown you're receiving makes you radiant. You are living proof that surrender is not defeat, it is divine mastery. I wear my crown. Because when you write those words, and you're not boasting, you're acknowledging grace. You're declaring that pain did not win. That humility became your throne, and that surrender crowned your soul. When you comment, I wear my crown, you're not showing pride, you're revealing gratitude. It's your quiet announcement to heaven that the breaking made you whole, and the journey carved beauty where pain once lived. Each word you type becomes a jewel set in your unseen crown. It tells the universe you have accepted your divine role to carry love, lead with humility, and shine so others remember their own worth. Your crown is not decoration, it's declaration. Every act of kindness, every moment of faith, every quiet victory polishes its shine. Wear it softly. Chosen one. For it tells the world grace reigns here. Chosen one, after the fire, after the surrender, after the crown, there comes the unveiling. This is the moment of manifestation, when what was whispered in secret begins to echo in the open. The promises once hidden in prayer start to take form before your eyes. You have waited, endured, believed, and now heaven begins to reveal what all that waiting was for. Manifestation is not magic, it is alignment. It happens when the will of heaven meets the obedience of man. You did not chase the blessing, it found you walking in the right rhythm. Everything that was delayed begins to arrive, not because you forced it, but because you became ready. In earlier seasons, you were still being prepared to hold what was promised. You couldn't carry it yet. You were learning patience, trust, and discernment. But now, the vessel has been shaped, and heaven can pour. Manifestation is not a surprise. It is fulfillment arriving on schedule. There will be moments soon when you look at your life and realize, this is what I prayed for. It may not come dressed as you expected, it rarely does, but it will carry the same peace you felt when you first believed. You'll feel the echo of old prayers rising again, this time answered. As the prophet Habakkuk reminds us, chapter 2, verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. That appointed time is unfolding now. What once seemed distant is drawing near. The prayers that gathered dust and silence are now being carried by the wind of completion. You are standing in the thin place between promise and performance. And heaven is crossing the bridge toward you. The manifestation may not announce itself with noise. It may come quietly, a new door opening, a long-awaited answer arriving softly, a sudden peace replacing years of restlessness. God rarely shouts his fulfillment. He whispers it through stillness. Because those who have been refined can hear silence better than sound. You will recognize the manifestation not by its glitter, but by its grounding. True blessings do not make you frantic. They make you still. They don't inflate pride. They deepen gratitude. You'll know it's from heaven because it fits effortlessly, like something that was always meant to be there. This is also the season when hidden seeds start to sprout. The prayers you planted years ago, the faith you sowed in tears, the acts of kindness that seemed unseen, they were never forgotten. Heaven's soil keeps every seed safe until the appointed rain arrives, and now, that rain is falling. You are walking through a harvest you didn't even realize was growing. Be mindful. Though manifestation is not the end, it's the continuation. Blessings are not destinations, they are assignments. What God reveals to you now carries purpose. Each answered prayer will open another door of responsibility, another invitation to serve, another opportunity to reflect His glory. And as manifestation unfolds, humility must remain your anchor. You will feel the temptation to rush ahead, to celebrate loudly, to hold the miracle tighter than the Maker. Resist it. Rejoice, yes, but remember who gave it. Gratitude is the posture that keeps manifestation flowing. When you honor what God gives, He entrusts you with more. There will also be those who notice the glow around you and wonder, what changed? They will not understand that it wasn't sudden, it was sacred. Your harvest is not luck. It's the visible form of invisible faith. What they see is the fruit of what you built in silence. Chosen one, manifestation is not about display, it's about evidence. You are living proof that patience was never wasted. Every tear became a seed. Every delay became direction. Every disappointment became foundation. What you are about to see is not random, it's the manifestation of divine design. Walk into it gently with reverence. You are stepping on answered prayers. The air around you is holy because it carries the weight of fulfillment. Every moment now is both culmination and beginning. This is the season when you will finally understand why nothing else worked before. Because it was always meant to happen now. Heaven's timing is precise. It is never late. It is exact. And you, chosen one, have finally arrived at the place where faith meets form, where unseen dreams become undeniable reality. What you once prayed through tears, you will now hold with joy. This is not the end of your story, it is the unfolding of everything you were born to witness. The invisible has become visible, and the whisper has become world. Chosen one, everything you have walked through, the awakening, the breaking, the testing, the refining has been leading you to this point. Not the end of a story, but the beginning of a commission. This is the eternal commission, the moment when destiny ceases to be a dream and becomes a daily devotion. You have discovered that being chosen is not about standing above others, it is about standing available. To be chosen means to be trusted with divine responsibility to live as a vessel of heaven's will in a world desperate for light. Every scar, every silence, every struggle prepared you for service. This is not a task you perform, it's a life you embody. Your existence itself becomes testimony. When people encounter you, they feel peace. When they hear you, they sense clarity, and when they walk beside you, they remember that goodness still lives on earth. You are not called to convince, you are called to carry. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." That verse has always been true of you, even when you felt dimmed. The light within you is not meant for display, it's meant for direction. God places His chosen ones in dark places not to punish them, but to guide others home. You are not hidden to be forgotten, you are hidden to be revealed in perfect timing. The eternal commission begins with recognition. You now understand that your calling is not confined to pulpits, stages, or platforms. It breathes through your everyday life. The way you love, the way you listen, the way you forgive, all of it preaches louder than any sermon. You are a living message. Ray, you have been entrusted with influence, not for control, but for compassion. You are sent not to impress, but to impact. The kingdom moves through your kindness, through your integrity, through your quiet consistency when the world chooses chaos. This is how heaven expands, one obedient heart at a time. There will be moments when the commission feels heavy again. You will question your worthiness, doubt your ability, and fear your inadequacy. When those thoughts come, remember you were never chosen because you were flawless. You were chosen because you were willing. The same grace that called you will continue to sustain you. The eternal commission also carries continuity. The work you begin will ripple beyond your lifetime. Every word spoken in love, every prayer whispered in secret, every act of faith you release will continue moving long after your name is forgotten. Heaven measures legacy not by fame, but by fruit. You are part of an unbroken chain of light stretching across generations. Prophets, dreamers, reformers, healers, all carrying the same divine flame. And now that flame rests in your hands. You are not a replacement. You are continuation. The story of God's movement on earth now includes your chapter. When the world grows darker, don't curse the night, become the fire. When fear spreads like shadow, speak faith until the atmosphere shifts. When others run from pain, you walk into it with compassion as your shield. You are heaven's answer to the cries of this hour. This commission will not always look grand. Sometimes it will look like patience when you want to rush, gentleness when anger tempts, silence when gossip calls. Small acts become sacred offerings when done with love. The chosen are not measured by scale, but by sincerity. And when fatigue whispers that you have given enough, remember that strength is renewed in surrender. Rest is not quitting, it is recharging. Even Jesus withdrew to lonely places to pray, so must you. Your calling does not demand constant doing, it demands constant being. Chosen one. This is the purpose behind every pain you've endured, to become a vessel of divine endurance, to embody light that cannot be extinguished. You carry a commission that outlives breath, a mission that transcends time. So walk with confidence, speak with gentleness, live with reverence. Let your life itself become a sermon without words. You have nothing left to prove, only light left to share. And when your journey here completes, when heaven calls you home, you will see the tapestry of your obedience woven into eternity's design. You will recognize faces you've never met whose lives were touched by your light. You will hear the whisper of the one who sent you say, "Well done, faithful one." Until that day, keep walking, keep shining, keep loving. Your story is not ending, it's expanding. The eternal commission is already written within you. And now, at last, you are living it out. Chosen one. If these words have walked beside you through fire, through silence, through awakening, then this is more than coincidence. It means heaven has been speaking to you through every line, reminding you that you were never forgotten, never abandoned, never ordinary. Now you stand at the threshold of something holy. Not an ending, but a continuation, a new breath in the lungs of your destiny. The story that began as whispers has become a living echo through you. And as it goes forth, It carries hope, healing, and light for countless others. If what you felt here brought peace, strength, or understanding, let that gratitude breathe when you like or share. It's not a task, it's a torch. You're passing the flame onward, letting another weary traveler see the road that once felt invisible to you. And if your heart feels drawn to stay close to this voice, subscribe not as a follower, but as family. It means staying near to the rhythm of words that remind your soul of its purpose when the world grows heavy again. If your spirit ever feels led to sow a seed to donate, see it as an offering of love, not obligation. It's like adding one more beam to a house of light, ensuring the walls of hope stand strong for others who will enter after you. Your gift becomes part of the story, a soft echo in heaven's song. And finally, before you go, comment below with what this journey has meant to you. It doesn't have to be long, just honest. Each word you share becomes a reflection, a ripple of light that helps someone else realize they, too, are chosen. You are not alone, not forgotten, not finished. You are the continuation of grace itself. Thank you for walking this sacred road. The light within you is proof that the message lives on,